What's up, everybody? Bastamouth here, bringing you a brand new Halo Infinite video. Today we are talking about how pro players hack your mind. Remember to like and subscribe if you learn anything new today or enjoy the video. Also join the Discord server, link is in the description. Doesn't matter what skill you have, doesn't matter what rank you are, come join the Discord, play Halo Infinite with us. We have a great time. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Today we're going over the gameplay of Optic Lucid. He is one of the best to play the game, so we're going to be learning a little bit from him. In this game specifically, this is an interesting one because he queued into a ranked game and ended up facing off against another pro player on the other team. So what I'm going to go over in this video, what do I mean by how players hack your mind, is how they take advantage of the psychology of the enemy players and use it against them. Because pro players, they are not, all raw mechanical ability. A lot of players, they see just highlight clips from these players and they're like, oh, their aim is just really good. And they don't really fully appreciate how they set themselves up in that situation, or how exactly they knew that situation would work out that way. Like, yes, their mechanical skill is insane, but if every player that mastered the game mechanically played the game professionally, and that was all that there was to the game, that would mean they would all generally have pretty much the same stats, and they don't. And what makes the difference is the psychology of the play, which is right here. I'm going to be playing this round for you. We're only going to be going over one round because it was a very long game, but notice how off the start here, first he does the text slide. Just real quick, how to do that. You notice how much speed he gained there, how much distance he gained compared to a regular slide. So when he's going from an area from high to low elevation, he holds slide before he lands, and that will give you that speed boost, that little text slide right there. But now notice right here, because what I mean by taking advantage of enemy players' routines and like their psychology is, think about, I'll outline a very basic example on Crossfire, where the sniper is. Every time the game starts, there's usually at least one player on the enemy team that's going to go mid and try to get that sniper. So you can prepare for this with pre-nades or just positioning, flank around, but as the game progresses, usually a player's routine becomes more and more difficult to predict because there are more factors in the score and how the game has played out so far and where the spawns are. But these pro players are really good at judging that, and notice in this clip, he knows from the last round a player likes to jump right there at the beginning, so he threw that grenade right there and is able to clean him up just like that because he knew psychologically the player was there. That was not crazy aim, that wasn't crazy movement. He just knew, because of how much Halo he's played and the way he thinks and the way he understands the game, that he knew a player was going to be there, and therefore that was able to deal with that player without that player even knowing what hit him, really. And but also what you're going to notice is how he changes up his own routine, which is why I picked this game, because there's a pro player on the enemy. I think his name on the other team is Mr. Soul Snipes. He's a really good player. So he will adjust in a gunfight. He will adjust accordingly his play style to whoever he's playing up against. Like, if you notice, you might not even notice the routine you're into, but if you go back into a theater mode of literally any game you play, and you'll notice this, a lot of players, when they engage in a gunfight, have a very typical way that they handle the gunfight. Whether, 2 feet to the left, crouch, strafe right, crouch, strafe left again, strafe left one more time. But usually they do a very similar, they do one of the same similar things when they engage in a gunfight, because you're not thinking about your strafing as much as you're thinking about not getting shot by the other guy, shooting the other guy, where your teammates are, where the objective is at, where you're at in the game. So all these things are factoring in. So you're relying a lot on your subconscious to make these decisions for you, which leads, because we're creatures of habit, because we're human beings, that leads to a lot of routines. And so Lucid will adjust his playstyle when he's up against Mr. Soul Snipes compared to the other ranked players who are not pro players. He won't try to get away with as much on them. But also notice how he utilizes the sandbox. He is never just holding the BR. Notice that. He's never just holding the BR, and he always has equipment and grenades on him. He's constantly on equipment, grenades, and weapon spawns. And this is so he can utilize the the sandbox to the maximum of its ability. With the grapple here, you'll see Ray about here. He's going to have an insane grapple play with so notice how he just uses the grapple, not even to get like, well, he did use it to get a kill there, but not even to pull himself directly into the kill, but he just used it to take that off angle because, again, psychologically, I mean, he probably heard the player there, but also he knows that players probably see stairs there, and I can't hear it in the video. I don't think his teammates are communicating at all, which is also why I think this is a great example of how he's handling the game on an individual level. Without callouts from his teammates. Just his general awareness of where his teammates are and what they're doing without even the callouts is also something to be noted, because a lot of times your teammates, when they're in intense situations, when they're in gunfights, they're not going to be a lot of players can't really communicate while they're fully focused. So being able to understand situations without the callouts like he is doing here, he's playing the ball right here. You'll notice Lucid, he goes for a lot of kill records, and obviously he's one of the best slayers in the game, so he doesn't grab the ball very often, but he still plays the objective, right? And again, notice how he's using the sandbox with the shock rifle here to really hold down this angle and long haul for his teammates who have the ball. They're fighting it out, and they're grabbing the ball for him, getting points on the board. And the sandbox really makes a difference when you look at Lucid's gameplay, or a lot of pro players' gameplay, because they're able to engage enemies in very unique ways with lower times to kill. So you'll notice how he engages enemies who are expecting a BR, and he engages them with the shock rifle, and they are just not prepared for it. And again, so his teammates are down, he's making a push, he throws a couple pre-grenades, and he knows, again, that one is probably going to push him from up, and he does, so he turns. But he turned a little too late, and I do think that was... he could have heard him there and reacted a little quicker. But again, he goes back to the same fight, gets knocked down again. That was Mr. Soul Snipes both times. So he is, again, adjusting for this right now. He can't push as aggressively as he'd like to because of what he's been able to get away with on these players here that he's dealing with. If you'll notice, whenever he goes up against these guys, he is very more confident. Like, he'll take the fight out in the open because he's able to gauge their skill in comparison to his during the match. So he knows how to engage another crazy grapple play you saw right there, engaging him at an angle he just was not ready for, using the equipment to gain that advantage, because it's all about what the other player isn't ready for. They're never ready, or very rarely are these players, besides Mr. Soul Snipes, ready for what Lucid does with his grenades, his positioning, his movement, and his and the way he uses the weapon spawns around the map. And you'll see here, he actually gets a pretty insane camo getaway here. And he gets the sword, and amazing power weapon play coming in from him, combining the power weapon with the power equipment, when with, not the power equipment, but the grapple, which is not power equipment, but equipment. He's constantly using different combinations of weapons and equipment around the map to constantly throw off his own routine so the enemies are never ready for him. So what this does with him constantly changing the weapons he has, the equipment he has, literally the way he's playing the game, because, again, he's a pro player, so he's more conscious of the movements he makes in every individual gunfight, as opposed to having kind of a mental preset of what you do in a gunfight, which, again, look in theater. I guarantee you have one. I have one. It's something good to work on, be able to change your playstyle and throw off enemies, because once an enemy fights you a certain amount of times, they kind of understand, okay, this is how this player plays, and with everyone having custom armors, you're very identifiable. So they say, oh, look, this is what he's doing. I'm going to adjust my aim accordingly for this next time, and I will play the situation accordingly. But if you're constantly switching the way you play the fight, they will never be able to make that prediction on you. And that's something Lucid is also very good at. But remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video today. Also join the Discord server. Link is in the description. Lucid's channel is also in the description. Make sure you give him a sub. He's one of the best players in the game. Catch you guys in the next one.